We're just talking in and out and burgers and whatnot. Kenya Grace, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I should say, hey, hi, how are you? One of my favorite songs from the Aftertaste. I was just like, I hate that I relate to this too well. Let's talk about it, because obviously Strangers, it came out as a sound first. People latched onto it, used it to score their life.
It's crazy.
I imagine what you pictured, obviously, when you're writing the song and producing the song, and even making the reel that you put up and have pinned is so different than what you see other people posting.
Yeah. I did not expect any of that to happen. It's so crazy. Like, I'm trying to like remember the day that I like made it, and like I can't remember. I wish I could like watch it like a film back, but it's crazy. And like the videos that people made to the sound are so beautiful. Some of them, like, it's amazing.
Have your visuals in your head changed or altered any? Or are you still seeing the same thing when you sing it live, when you see people singing it back at you?
No, I think I see, like, it became such a big thing in like the car community, and people like did all these like drawings of cars and stuff, and like
racing down highways.
Yeah, I didn't even like really think of that when I was writing it, and then that's all I think of now.
It's cool. It's a cool time for drum and bass in general.
Yeah.
I was recently in the UK, and I'd learned about like UK garage. I didn't even know about that at all.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Brighton randomly at a pub, and my mate over there was like, "Oh, you don't know about this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Okay, so this kind of led to like a little more electric, and then that led to more drum and bass, and then that led to like loopy vibes and whatnot." It was a learning experience, but to see it come to the forefront here in the States, which we're late to the party.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be one of the people that's kind of, I don't want to say leading the charge, but you're definitely introducing a lot of people to this sound that they haven't heard before.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I feel like there's so many more people that did it before me. Like, it's not like a new thing to me, like there's like, there's so many people in the UK that like made it so big. But yeah, it's amazing. I love those genres so much. I'm so happy they're getting like bigger and bigger. It's exciting.
I want to talk to you about live looping.
Yes.
I feel like it's a very undervalued skill.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. If you've never seen this, I mean, anytime that you're on your control of the machine or whatever you're using at the time, you're doing this, and people know about live looping with guitars.
Yeah.
But they don't know how much goes into even just assigning knobs and pads and whatnot. Do you remember the first time that you got it right? That you were experimenting with all this and you're like, oh, it worked?
Yeah, I feel like the machine, it's a native instrument. It's what I use in like all my videos, and like what I use like when I do my shows. That was the first time that it like became very easy to me. They've made it like very like simple almost, and like very neat, and it's like it's way easier than like some of the other equipment, I think. So yeah.
Is it easy for you to lose track of time when you're trying to assign a certain song and make sure everything's in the right place, or do you find that easy?
It takes so long, honestly. Like, because you're like literally building up sounds, and it takes a long time. But I think I'm pretty quick at like putting like kits on now.
Do you ever forget which is assigned to what, or is at this point you're just like, nah, I got it?
Nah, I've got it.
Be proud. Yes, you should. It's hard to pull yourself away from that sometimes when you're really getting techie with it, and you're really like assigning and trying and trialing different things, and obviously recording songs too. What pulls you away? What helps you like break away from it for a second?
I really struggle with this. I like lose whole days like just from writing, and then like I like leave my room and I'm like in a haze of like not eating for ages and like just been staring at a screen for so long. So
when you do, what are you doing to like, okay, I need a break, I need a beat, I need a breath?
I love like being with my friends and my family and watching Netflix, probably chilling, doing self-care. I love that.
What are we binging on Netflix?
I said this earlier, like I am like one of these terrible people that like rewatch shows over and over again. I don't know what.
We were just talking about this.
Why do people do that? I do it all the time. Like,
what's Kenya Grace's comfort show?
The Office, the US Office as well.
I was gonna say that. Wow.
Yeah.
I would have guessed the opposite. Trying to act all cool, like we know about it in the States. The American Office. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have a favorite episode? I gotta ask, because Office people are gonna be seeing this. So like, okay, we gotta know.
I don't know.
Or a quote.
That's hard.
How about a character?
Probably Dwight.
Dwight?
I love Dwight.
Do you relate to Dwight?
No.
Just checking.
I better not.
You're like, watch yourself. I want to talk about the outro, and we'll end on this appropriately, because you don't hear outros, at least in cohesive pieces with albums, as much as you used to. What inspired you to say, okay, this is coming out, this project, and I want to make sure that it has a proper ending?
I just love that so much. Like, I love intros and outros. I just really wanted to do one. And then the outro for this EP is it's got all little bits of the songs. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's like all of
it's very John Bellion-esque. I don't know if you've, I mean, it's very cool to hear because it's a recall. It's almost a musical theater thing too.
Yeah.
It's like an ensemble at the end. I love it though. It was the first time I heard it, I was driving. I don't know what it is about driving, automobiles and your music, but it makes sense.
Love it.
It works, yeah. And it's I hear a lot of travel in my head. I'm someone that's a jet setter, and it's just your music lends itself to that. It lends yourself to kind of what's next in someone's chapter of life.
Oh, that's so nice.
And speaking of, and I know we said we're ending, but I got to throw it in there. You're playing both Coachella and Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone that just recently played their first show in the U.S., I don't know, 3 months ago, something like that in New York, and you hadn't been to the U.S. before that, what are you excited for? What are you nervous for from a U.S. festival standpoint and from a UK standpoint?
I have no idea what to expect for Coachella, to be honest, because I've never even been to a festival outside of the UK before. I have no idea like what to expect at all, but it's huge.
A lot of glitter.
Yeah,
you ready?
I love that.
Yeah, good, perfect.
But I'm just so excited to like experience everything. Like it's in a desert. That's so cool. That's so cool. So much better than a muddy field, I think.
You think that? I'll talk to you after. We'll see what you found. With Glastonbury, obviously, this is something you know about. Have you been?
No.
You've never
I've
been
never
to
been able
Glastonbury?
to get tickets. It's so hard to get tickets.
Well, that's got to be a cool, badass thing, though. It's like I never be able to get tickets, but now I'm invited. I'm kind of playing it. No big deal.
Yeah. That's probably my biggest dream ever, to play Glastonbury, to be fair, because it's like the biggest festival in the UK.
Well, Kenya, I mean this nicely. You better come up with some new dreams because we're accomplishing them all. We're checking a lot off. So it's very cool to talk to you right now. And I'm excited to see you in a little bit. I'm going to see you perform for the first time.
Eek. Exciting.
Kenya, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Do we like reintroduce this as the Spout podcast, or how does, I don't know, because we just did an interview and people already heard your voice, Tamara, and they've already heard mine talking to Kenya Grace, and here we are again for the wrap up.
Lucky for them that are listening.
Yeah.
The wrap up. I like that.
More of us. Yeah, I'm sure that's not trademarked anywhere. Here's the deal. After our interviews, I just talked to Kenya Grace. She has that track Stronger. She has that song Stranger, which has been everywhere, kind of scoring everyone's Instagram, especially the car community. We just like to recap what's trending.
I love that
in
song.
Pop music. It's so good, right? That whole EP is insane. The aftertaste, very good, worth checking out. But I want to jump off because this happened over the weekend, and I know you're going to have more insight than me, Tamara. Chris Brown versus Quavo. Now, quickly to recap, Quavo had a performance in Connecticut with an unusually small crowd. Now, this is all alleged. Obviously, there's no way to completely prove it, and Chris Brown, as of the time of this recording, has not claimed responsibility. But people are claiming that Chris Brown may be behind buying out the arena or several hundred tickets in order to prevent a sizable crowd for Quavo, which is amazing.
I mean, it's pretty funny. You got to give kind of tip your cap to that. There's two sides of the argument on Twitter right now of people saying it's genius and the other people saying, you dummy, you just put a bunch of money in Quavo's pocket. Right. But, as a performer stepping out onto a stage and then seeing 30 people, seeing 3,000, I would imagine that that's a head game that kind of is being played right now. Oh, if Chris Brown 100%. Did that, I'd definitely give the point to Chris Brown on that one. Because, I do remember the last election, TikTok, a bunch of TikTokers did that for one of Donald Trump's speeches. They basically bought out because the tickets were free, so they reserved everything, and so when he got there was 10 people there. So I think that's really funny, especially for people that have a little bit of a narcissism in them that like to 100%. Be appeased by their crowds. So listen, for a point to Chris Brown on that one for sure.
For a beef in 2024, I think this is probably one of the most nonviolent, hilarious ways to get aggressive. And like you said, it's happened. We've seen it, or at least the idea of it being floated around before. But the idea of this Chris being the mastermind behind it is amazing, which I wanted to turn to you. And I'll provide an example first. Have there ever been moments where you've been on the receiving end or the giving end of even in friendly pettiness with someone you worked with? I don't know if you remember at TRL, one of our producers, Grace, a really close friend of mine, she convinced all of our floor producers that I couldn't read. And they genuinely did not think I could read. She said, he uses the teleprompter for pacing. What? And like these poor PAs that were working for us at MTV are just like excited to be there. They didn't know what was going on. They don't know who I am. So they see me reading a teleprompter. They're like, oh, it's funny. For pacing, like just so we can keep track. It went on for like 2 weeks. Don't laugh at that.
Funny.
My producer here is laughing at that.
They all thought you were lit.
Yeah, they thought I memorized every single script that we did on live television.
Wow. Honestly, that would be more impressive if you could memorize all those scripts.
Right?
I'm trying to think. Like, pranks? I'm trying to think. I mean, also, I wish, honestly, that's really funny. I'm like, I get too professional, I guess. I'm not sure.
Tamara just works in a world of professionalism.
That's really funny.
No slip ups. She never messes up.
Yeah, well.
Perfect. Wakes up looking like this.
They do call me One Take Tam.
Don't
right?
start.
Yeah, me and
no,
Beyonce.
I've seen.
Oh, whoops! I was sorry. I was trying not to. Oh, I thought you were gonna get mad at me for saying Beyonce's name.
No, I didn't even hear it. There was a glitch. Now I get mad all over again. All right. Well, then, we'll get out of this argument and transfer over to the kind of Beyonce news, but more Blue Ivy Carter, daughter of Jay-Z and Beyonce, officially cast as Kiara in the upcoming Lion King sequel / prequel / Lion King universe, which I guess is a thing now. It's the story of Mufasa, but she's also playing the daughter of not only her mom, Beyonce, who plays Nala, but also I guess they're going to be going back and forth quite a bit. I think this is very cool. The movie already has a release date, December 20th. She's playing opposite her mom, which is amazing, and it's another live action, I guess, Lion King universe. I don't know whether to call it a prequel or a sequel. But what I think is funny is the idea that she's basically Simba in real life. If you think in terms of the fact that at some point when she was old enough to comprehend her parents' fame and wealth, I'm sure on top of whatever building they live in Manhattan, Jay-Z and Beyonce pointed out in a similar scene to Blue Ivy Carter was like, see this? Everything the light touches, that's yours.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Gosh, like
Seriously.
She really has the world at her fingertips. I see a lot of people online, like, screaming nepotism, but at the same time, I'm like, we're just jealous because I would love, God bless my parents. I'm very lucky, but like, it wouldn't be too bad to like grow up as Beyonce's kid. Gotta say, those opportunities are few and far between. People are like, oh, hire real actors. Like at Blue Ivy's age, there's not a lot of seasoned voice actors. So I think, screaming nepotism when they're 10 is different, or how, I don't even know how she is now, but, screaming nepotism when they're, like at that age is very different than screaming nepotism at 25. So I think it's really cute. I think she's going to do great. I love that we're seeing Blue Ivy come into her own, especially after seeing her perform on tour with Beyonce. So I think this is great. I think it's super cute. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. And on the Nepo baby argument a little bit too, I think there's a difference between being a hardworking child of very successful people versus just someone that's like, oh, I want to be a director, and then they get handed a movie the next day because they suddenly get to produce it because their dad owns the, Paramount Pictures or whatever it may be. I've seen a lot of, offspring of very successful people that it doesn't even have, you don't even have to do your own lane. You just have to work hard and prove that you're willing to go up against other people who don't have, the same background. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I when people are like, oh, she's on stage dancing with Beyonce on tour, it's like, yeah, but it's not like she's taking someone's job, because Beyonce is not going to cast another 10, 11-year-old to be on stage at the Renaissance tour.
Yes,
it's either her kid or they're all adults, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also that's why, as a parent, you would work that hard anyways, because you want to put your kids in those positions that you didn't have an opportunity to be at when you're that age. So do you have any favorite nepotism, Nepo babies?
I'm trying to remember. Maud Apatow, I really enjoy as an actress. And obviously Judd Apatow's daughter. There's been, I don't know, there's a few. There's, I think Wolfgang Van Halen's really putting a name out there for himself. Obviously, Eddie Van Halen's son, a guitarist, and he's just appearing on stage everywhere and doing his own thing, but he's super talented. I don't have the list in front of me. Do you have, Tamara, favorite Nepo babies?
Yeah. I do. I mean, she's grown, so it's hard to say she's a baby. But Tracy Ellis Ross, I think, is like probably one of my favorite nepo babies, the daughter of Diana Ross, because she's had such an incredible career in her own right, and she's just like she just seems like such a vibe. Like she doesn't seem like she just kind of rode on the coattails of her mom. She just genuinely was an artist in her own way and became just really freaking cool. I'm trying to think who else. I did like at Coachella recently, Sublime, Bradley's son performed at the lead, as the lead singer for Sublime during the concerts, which I think is a very cool way to lean into your nepo baby rights,
Right. I mean, and there's
really
a lot.
special.
I'm Googling things now too. I mean, we lost Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of Foo Fighters last year. His son Oliver Shane Hawkins drummed on stage with Dave Grohl, and not only was he playing drums like four on the floor, this dude crushed this song in honor of his father. People forget, like, it's not exactly, it's a systemic thing too. I'm not exactly making up for it. Like, it's a cool thing, but how many like famous movie stars are also children of famous movie stars from the 20s, 30s, 40s?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, George Clooney's a nepo baby. His mom was, she was a beauty queen, city councilwoman.
For me, a nepo baby is someone who gets the advantage of having a parent in the same lane, like same professional lane. So, for example, Nicolas Cage is a great example of one of the most probably successful nepo babies, whose dad is Francis Ford Coppola, but changed his last name because he didn't want to be a nepo baby. But yeah, so for me, it's like he's in the entertainment industry, so that makes him a nepo baby. But if his dad was like,
Sure,
worked as a COO of Toyota, and Nick Cage was still an actor, that to me is not a nepo baby, but it is a privilege.
There's a few.
Baby.
Okay, I'm putting this list together. A few that are popping out. Ben Stiller, obviously Jerry Stiller's son. Lily Collins,
that's
Phil
a good
Collins'
one.
daughter.
Oh yeah, that's a good one
Drew
too.
Barrymore, hello.
Oh yeah, legendary
Jaden
nepo
Smith,
baby.
obviously we know about that.
Jaden,
Maya
yes.
Hawke, Ethan Hawke's daughter. There's plenty.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus.
But they're
hello.
Oh yeah, but the thing is like they're all very talented. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's one thing if the nepo baby comes in and they're just kind of like meh, and then we're like nepo baby. But when all the people that you've just named are supremely talented and we like them, in their own right as their own right. So I'm okay with nepo babies. I wish I was
Right,
one.
and that's why we know their name. It comes back. Me too. It comes back to like it's one thing to be like, yeah, your parents are somebody, but you're still working for it. You still trained as talent can still be in your blood. You still have to work your ass off to be something. There's plenty of examples, and I'm not going to name them, but I have three in front of me that it's like, okay, you're only famous because of your parents, and it's still unclear what you
name them.
A lot of models.
Name them.
A lot of models.
Oh.
A lot of models. Both male and female, by the way. Yeah. I mean, because you're innately going to be a beautiful person, probably, if your parents are famous movie stars. So you could just be like, oh, just pose. Look at this camera.
Must be nice.
Are you trying to decipher who I'm talking about?
Yes. A male model. That's a tough one.
Haley Bieber.
Well, that's a big one.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But I think she's actually she has a huge beauty brand now, and she's a Bieber.
But why does she have a beauty brand?
She kind of made her.
Would she have a beauty brand if her parents weren't who they are?
I think she has a beauty brand because she married Justin Bieber, not because of who her parents are.
So nepo wife.
Nepo wife. I still have hope. I can become a nepo wife.
You can become a nepo wife. Yeah. No shade to Haley. It's using the tools to your advantage and your surroundings by all means. I would too. Hand up, 100%. I just haven't met her yet.
Yeah.
I would love to be a nepo husband.
Yeah. The lane is still open for you, Erik. We can figure out who, like Taylor. We can steal away
I don't think I can steal. I don't think I can steal her Taylor from Travis. Maybe that would be too intimidating. I think I need like a really successful actress like that just hit her first like movie that's doing well now. I don't know. We're not going to go down this lane. Shifting gears as we're working with like a 6-second delay too, trying to make this make sense. CheeseBall Man, this man, 22-year-old recent grad from NYU, decided to put up posters all over Manhattan over the past few months. This wasn't like a last minute thing. He's been putting up pictures of himself in a mask, a ski mask, orange ski mask, that he was going to eat an entire jar of cheese balls in Union Square in New York. And not only did some people show up, over 1,000 showed up, and it's gone viral. And I saw him on Good Morning America this morning. National news
Wow,
coverage.
good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is just a testament to like how we just need something kind of wholesome and mindless a little bit to take us away from
Right.
everything else that's going on in the world. And I think it's a testament to the power of New York City, because I don't know that 1,000 people would show
It
up
could
in
only
any other
happen in
city
New York.
besides New York. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But yeah, wow, Good Morning
100%.
America, good for him.
Yeah, he said they asked too, like what his other ventures are outside of just being, I think Good Morning GMA called him a food conqueror, which is a stretch. But he said, I just want to help people. I help my city. I do so by picking up trash. And in case you were curious, he plans on doing this again in exactly 1 year, April 27th, 2025. He plans on doing it all over again. And he is quickly rising on social media. I don't think we're going to have to wait a whole year to hear what happens next from CheeseBall Man. At this point, he's got to do something else. But it's just one of those, like I said, you and I both lived in New York. It's one of those things that couldn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, just a testament to the magic of New York City, because it's so ridiculous. And the fact that he made it to Good Morning America is even more like mind-boggling. But I support him. Go forth and conquer, CheeseBall Man.
You're so mad we're talking about this.
kinda
Moving
do-
along, Hozier.
No, no. I do prefer to talk about Hozier, yes.
Yes, we'll move it. Hozier's Too Sweet, his first number one single in the U.S. To be clear, not ever. He's had number ones in the U.K. and Ireland and whatnot. He's only the fourth number one single in the U.S. from an Irish singer, the last being Sinead O'Connor in the 90s, which is crazy. Whoa. But yeah, Take Me to Church never hit number one. I think I peaked at number 3 or 2. Too Sweet, obviously.
Which is shocking.
I drink my whiskey neat. Everyone has heard it, but I'm a huge Hozier fan outside of the songs that everyone else knows.
Yeah, no, I love Hozier. I also really love this song, Too Sweet. It's such a vibe. And I think when I heard it, maybe like a month or two ago when it first dropped, and I immediately was like, oh, this one's going to hit. This is it. It's like his first big hit since Take Me to Church. I'm still in shock that Take Me to Church never went to number one in the U.S. That's mind-boggling to me. But I'm glad he finally hit the top of the charts. Well, at least for a week, because now Taylor came in and was like, that was very cute of you. You got your weekend.
Yeah. Upseated by Taylor. We'll get to Taylor in a second. Obviously, that's the big headline. But on Hozier, I never liked Take Me to Church. When it first came out, I was like, what is this? Because I was working on standard radio at the time. I was working for Kiss FM. I didn't like the song. But I went to a Hozier concert and I fell in love with the dude's catalog. Jackie and Wilson, one of my favorite songs. Almost, an incredible track. There's so much good stuff. To Noisemaking is my favorite song. That's going to at some point, mark my words, that will be the soundtrack to whatever film or commercial I produce professionally. It just hasn't happened yet. We're working on the rest. But he's got some really good tracks, and this most recent EP / like surprise project part 2, Unreal Unearthed, definitely worth checking out as well. But yes, now on to Taylor, which I'm surprised you brought up, but some major milestones made by Miss Taylor Swift. I'll let you take it, Tam.
Yeah, so Taylor is now occupying the top 14 spots of the Hot 100 chart this week, which is a new record previously held by Taylor herself when she occupied the first 10
she
spots.
She broke her own record. Okay, that's what I figured.
So not shocking that she would break her own record, but it is pretty astounding to have the top 14 spots on the Hot 100. I mean, clearly never been done before, and Taylor continues to just kind of be the big shining star that she is. Unfortunately, she did knock out people like Hozier, who's first time hitting number one, and her girl Sabrina Carpenter, who just broke the top 10 for the first time in her very long career. So congrats to Taylor. I don't think that she intentionally wanted to knock her peers out of the way, but what are you going to do when you're number one? It's just what it is.
Yeah, the Hozier thing I'm fine with because he got his number one. I don't know how long he would have held on to it anyway. And no shade to him. Again, like I said, I'm a fan. But, at least he achieved that. Sabrina, it's crazy when we say her very long career because she has had a very long career. She's been in the industry for almost 10 full years now. But she's only 24 years old. Like because I remember doing an interview with Sabrina Carpenter, I think when she was 16. And it was just mind-blowing that she's been at it this long. She seems to be catching her groove now, obviously opening up for Taylor down in Australia and those legs, and then with Feather, and now Espresso is everywhere. So even if she didn't full on achieve number one, I, for one, as someone that studies these charts pretty closely and work in radio, could see her still coming back to that. The Taylor 14 songs is a novelty. Yeah. I think Beyonce did something similar when her album came out. That's just everyone streaming everything at once in mass. But obviously, Taylor's not going to have 14 number one singles from the album. That would be another bonkers record. So I think Sabrina has a chance of coming back for this.
No, I agree. I think once the Taylor mania kind of levels out a little bit, we're going to see these other songs climb back up the chart. Specifically, Espresso. I think it's a very big hit song for Sabrina, and I'm excited for her. I'm a fan of hers, and I'm glad that she's finally kind of getting this recognition that she's deserved for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. That's all I got on my docket. Anything else from you, Tamara?
Anything
Throwing
else?
the ball in
Let's
your
see.
court.
Oh gosh.
Oh, you were talking about Rihanna. Another.
I was literally just about to bring that up.
07.
Yes. Yeah. So, Rihanna just did a big launch for Fenty Beauty, and she was on the red carpet doing what she does, looking amazing and being her glorious self. And someone, as always, asked her about R7, her album, which we've all been waiting for since 2016. So she finally answered this time, though. Like, she's very notorious for kind of deflecting the question and focusing on her babies and her billion-dollar company. But she answered this time and essentially said that it is okay. I know, yeah, babies and billions. Honestly, that's a good baby billion. There's something in there. But she did say that the album is on its way and that it is mostly done. And that she's excited for it, but she wants it to be perfect because people have waited this long, so they deserve perfection. So, as a longtime Rihanna stan, I am very, 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 very ready for a new Rihanna album. And it'll be interesting to see, and hear what the music will be like this time around, because she's been very vocal about how motherhood has changed her from her style to the things that she even talks about. So it'll be curious to see how that changes her music.
Yeah, are you worried as a fan? And not that I'm not a fan of Rihanna, but obviously you've studied her career. I have not. When she says something like it's going to be perfect, I want to make sure this is the top echelons. Is she setting herself up for unreal expectations at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think any artist that does that is kind of setting themselves up, because there's no such thing as perfection in art, right? That's why artistry is, very subjective, so it's like you can't ever say there's a perfect album. But that's the thing, is like some people will, like a lot of people say that Taylor's album is a perfect album, and then there's people like us on the other side that are saying the opposite. So it's very subjective. I think for her, I think she just wants to make sure that there's some bangers on that album, and that if she is forced to tour, that's a big if she is forced to tour, that she's going to be doing songs that she feels like good doing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What is perfection? Who even knows these days? We just want something we can shake our booty to, Rihanna.
But besides that, I think it's safe to say that if you want to see Rihanna live, you better be some big milestone event, or you better make friends with some royalty across the seas, because that's where she's going to be performing when the check's there. I don't see a world where we're seeing another stadium tour from Rihanna, at least anytime in the next 5-6 years. I don't know that she needs it. I know she doesn't.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
why would you? Unless she enjoys it, but doesn't sound like she's really in it for the love of the game in that capacity.
Yeah, I think she's kind of outgrown that stage of her life, which is fine. But someone who did just announce a tour is Billie Eilish. Are you planning to see Billie on tour?
She did. I have actually never seen Billie live outside of when we were at MTV. I've seen her perform in very intimate settings in TV studios, but I've never seen her on stage in concert. So that would be cool. I'm excited to see. And not only, we've talked about her album a couple times on the Spout podcast, but I'm excited to see just this piece as a whole, but especially how she brings it to the stage. Now, obviously entering a very honest, transparent realm, which she's always been very true to herself, at least to the best of our knowledge. But now it seems like, okay, all doors open. I'm going to do whatever the F I want. Let me do my thing. So I'm excited to see what her production is. And as someone that also admires Phineas and his career too, I know he has an integral hand in her artistry. I'm excited to see them just on stage together. very excited about that tour. Yeah, it's a massive tour. She's doing, I think, 6 dates in London. She's doing multiple Australia dates, all over North America, obviously.
Well, also as someone who's a fan of Phineas, he also announced that he has a new album coming out as well. So it'd be cool to see his latest project as well. I'm also a fan of Phineas. I feel like he deserves a little more shine in many ways. So excited to see him, perform his own music.
100%. Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think it's not that he's not getting the shine. I think he doesn't want it. He's like a Jack Antonoff to me, where he's producing music, he releases it for those that care, that want to listen, that actually want to dive deep into it. But he doesn't need the spotlight on him. And I think any spotlight he wants, he gets alongside, Billie at any and all concerts that she's performing.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Billie is such a superstar. So, but I'm excited to hear her new album and see what this new era, quote unquote, is for her. So, yeah, very, very exciting time for new music.
Yeah, careful. I think Taylor has era trademarked. On that note, I think we're going to wrap up. Tamara, I appreciate you as always. I really can't, if you're hearing this and it sounds even somewhat normal time-wise, I hope you understand how hard our editors, shout out to Wes, shout out to Mark, on the Spout team are working, because we have a 7-second delay right now. I feel like one of those Good Morning America hurricane reporters, where they're like, what's the weather like? And then there's 19 seconds and like, it's windy. That's us today.
Yeah, totally. Right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Tamara, appreciate you. Love you. Talk to you next week.